Hello, it's screen visible? Hello.
Yes, Risha.
Okay. Okay, so today is day 14. Today's topic is exception handling. Okay, and this is the very important topic of software development. Okay, like when we develop any kind of software, like a basic software, enterprise software, any kind of software. So we have to focus more on errors. Like if you are developing a big software, okay, and if you find any error, so we must solve that particular error as soon as possible. Okay, what like is required? So we have to solve every problem as soon as possible. But how do you know? How do we know like where the problem is? Why the program is not working? Where the error is? How to fix that particular error? Okay, so this topic is related to errors and handling them. Okay, we have to handle errors. So there is an error and there is an exception. What is the difference between these two words, error and exception? Error means physical error, syntax error, grammar error. Grammar means like the grammar of any programming language, grammar of Java, grammar of Python. Okay, so these are like physical errors. If you have not declared any variable, like you are directly using num equal to 5, but you have not declared this num, like what it is. It is integer or float or double character boolean. What kind of data it will accept? We have not declared it. So grammar says if you want to assign any variable, sorry, any value into a variable, you must declare the variable first. You must declare the variable first, then you can use it for assignment, or like you can print the value of any variable like system.out.println num. So this is the grammar. You have to declare the variable at first, then you can use it. To declare a variable, you have to mention the specific data type that you want this variable to accept values. So you have to write the data type name at first, then space, then this num, and then semicolon means this statement ends here. This is another statement. We have two statements. This is the first statement, and this is the second statement. We have two statements here. Okay, so the first statement, the second statement. Now you have to declare a variable at first, then you can use it. And if there are two statements, so every statement ends here with a semicolon. Suppose we have forgotten to write this semicolon. It means this is an error. This is not exception. Okay, this is error. Grammatical error, syntax error. When you compile this program, your compiler will show you error. Like there is one error. The semicolon is missing in this specific line. Your compiler will show you the list of errors, like number of errors you have in your program. So this is grammatical error. Your program will not be compiled. your program will not be compiled if you have any grammatical error. You can also say it syntax error or physical error. Your program will not be compiled. And when the execution of program starts, after the compilation, when your program is compiled successfully, then your execution, like execution of the program, will start. So if your program has any syntax error, grammatical error, it means your program will not compile. And if your program will not compile, it will not be executed. Means compilation, successful compilation is must here. Your program must be compiled at first successfully, then it can be executed. Otherwise, it will not start the execution of the program. So this is the grammatical error, syntax error. Syntax error you have to solve. You have to fix it manually. You have to manually write the semicolon. You have to write the semicolon. Your program will not fix this. Your program or Java will not fix any syntax error itself. You have to fix it. If you are a developer, you have to fix it. You have to fix the syntax error manually as you are a developer. But there are some other kind of like errors which we can fix through our program. We don't have to fix them manually. Our program will fix them. Those are called exceptions. Exceptions are not physical errors or grammatical errors. These are logical errors or runtime errors. And this is called compile time. Error means compile time error. And exception means runtime error. Compile time error or error means physical error, grammatical error. If you write this like 5 equal to num, this is error, grammatical error. It is not like exception, it is error. Okay, it is not exception, it is error. If you write like this, equal to 5 semicolon num, okay, what kind of error this? Syntax error. There is no any syntax like this in Java. To use this assignment operator, you have to write some variable at first. Then you can write this assignment operator equal to. After equal to, you can only have like constants, either a number or data or any variable name, like a equal to b. It is correct. B is a variable which has some value. So a will be initialized with the value b has. So this is okay, but this is grammatically incorrect. So grammar errors are caught at compile time when you compile the program. So these are syntax errors, and you have to fix them manually by writing the code. Your program will not be executed if it has any syntax error. You have to compile your program at first, then it will start executing. So if you have any syntax error, it will be caught at the time of compilation. And if your compilation is successful, then you can head to the execution of the program. Without successful compilation, your program will not be executed. And this is the very important topic for the software development. In every software, you have to use this exception handling. You have to handle exceptions because we don't know what kind of like error we will get at runtime. We have written everything syntactically correct. Okay, we have written everything grammatically, syntactically correct. So there is no any compilation error, but there are so many other problems also, which you may face at the time of execution of the program. Suppose our program is grammatically correct. This is like how we create array. Okay. So the program is syntactically correct. Suppose this int takes 4 bytes. Okay. So it will take 4 into 10, 40 bytes. Suppose we don't have 40 bytes in continuous memory, because array takes continuous memory location, 40 bytes. We have 1 GB memory, but we don't have 40 bytes continuous. It is not the syntax error. It is runtime error. If you want to divide something like num divided by 0, okay, like a equal to 0, num divided by a, num equal to 5. Any number, if you divide by a, is exception, logical error or runtime error. Nothing can be divided by 0 here in any programming language, C, C++, Java, Python. And if you have any exception, it is also an error, but it is runtime error. It is not compile time error. Your compiler will not catch this kind of error. But your interpreter, like when you execute your program, there is an interpreter in Java. When you execute your program, your interpreter will catch the exception. Your interpreter is able to catch exception. If you write exception handling topics, if you use exception handling like thing in your program, then your interpreter will handle that. But by default, your interpreter will not handle any kind of exception. It will terminate your program abnormally. See an example. Like we can do it in VS Code. Okay, so file, close folder. You see Control Shift P command. Control Shift P, create a Java project. No build tool. Save on desktop. The project name underscore handling. This is the project name. Go to src application.java. Okay. Suppose we are writing here int num equal to 5. Okay, semicolon. Int num equal to 5. And when we print here, num divided by 0. To divide any number with 0, run, it is runtime error. See, exception in thread main. Exception means runtime error. Okay. And hello, hi, bye. Okay. When you execute your program, and if there is any exception, your program's execution is abnormally terminated. Okay. Like here, your program is abnormally terminated. That's why it will not go to the next line. See, this is not printing hello, hi, bye. Suppose we have exception at line number 6, means this line will be executed. This line will also be executed. This will also be executed. Here it will find an exception. Here your program will be terminated abnormally. Abnormally means every statement will not be executed. At this line, your program will be terminated. See, when we run, it will print hello. It will print hi. Here we have exception. It will not go to the next line. See, hello hi is okay. It will print hello hi. but the line where exception it finds the exception, it will terminate your program abnormally. Like the interpreter will be terminating your program abnormally. It will not go to the next statement. So if you compile this, there is no any syntax error. Variable, operator, data, or variable, something like it is grammatically perfect. Grammatically, it is correct. Okay, grammatically, it is correct. This is exception. An error. See, when we miss the semicolon, just run. See, syntax error. Insert semicolon to complete block statement. Java line number 3, column number 17. Line number 3, column number 17. Means start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. See, this is the column number, 17th character. So column number 17, line number 3. So this is compilation error. But there are some logical errors also. The logic is incorrect. So those are called exceptions. And what exception does? It terminates your program abnormally. It terminates your program abnormally. Suppose these two lines are correct. This line has some exception. Okay, no problem. This line has some exception. But why this line is not being executed? There is no any problem with this line. We just want those lines not to be executed which have problems or exceptions. But those lines must be executed which have no problem. So it can only be possible with exception handling. You have to handle the exception. See, in this program, we are not handling this exception. Okay, in this program, we are not handling this exception. By default, when we start the execution of this program, this line will be executed, this will be executed, this will be executed. There is an exception. Your program will be terminated abnormally. Now, no any other line will be executed. By default, this is the process. But suppose if we want not to be executed only those lines which has exception, but every other line must be executed which has no exception. What is the problem with this line? This is correct, but it is not being executed. But we want only those lines not to be executed which has exceptions. I just want this line to be executed. It is okay that this line will not be executed. It is okay because it has some problem, exception. But this line has no any exception, no any error. So why this line is not like being executed? This line must be executed. So it can only be possible if you handle this exception here. Because if you don't handle the exception, if you don't handle the exception, it will abnormally terminate your program at the same line. But if you handle this exception, other lines which has no error or no exception will be executed normally if you handle the exception. But if you don't handle, your program will not be executed. It will be terminated abnormally. Like this line has some error, exception. So this exception terminates your program abnormally. So your execution of the program control will not go to the next line. Here your program is terminated abnormally. But if you handle this, your other lines, other part of the program which has no exception will be executed normally. Okay, so error means physical error, but exception means logical error, runtime error. There are so many kind of errors, exceptions we will discuss today. Okay, So exception is an error which is caught at runtime. If there is an exception in a program, the program will be terminated abnormally at the line where we have the exception. It will not go to the next line to execute. Okay. It will not go to the next line to execute. It will terminate your program abnormally. Okay. So exception is an error which is caught at runtime. If there is an exception in your program, the program will be terminated abnormally at the line where we have the exception. It will not go to the next line to execute. If we want to execute all those lines which have no exception to execute, then we have to handle exceptions, all the exceptions. You have to handle the exceptions. How do we handle exception? Using try catch block. How do we handle exception? Using try catch block. What is try catch block? Try block means it is a block where we find the exception. If there is an exception, so what action you want to perform? That means action to be performed in this block. Like suppose if you have a doubt that this particular line will might have some exception in future when we execute the program. So you have some doubt in a specific line that this line will have some kind of exception. So you have to write that particular line in try block. Okay. You have to block means curly braces. Okay. So the line which you think that this line will have some kind of exception when we run this program. So those lines must be written in try block. It means our program, the Java, will try to find any exception into those lines. And if it finds any exception, it will not abnormally terminate your program. It will just go to your catch block that we have got an exception, what to perform. If you have catch block, doesn't matter if you write anything or not, you just have catch block. It will go to the catch block, and after catch block, it will again go to the next line to execute other lines normally. But if you don't have any try catch block, your program will be abnormally terminated. So this is try catch. Let's see an example. Suppose this line we think will have some exception. So just write this line within try. Okay, and here catch. What kind of exception is this? Arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception, the class name ex. And we just want to print only, nothing else. Ex. We think that like this line will have some exception. So the line you think will have some exception, you have to write those lines inside try block. And just after the try block, you have to write the catch. And you have to mention here which kind of exception this catch block will perform action. For which specific kind of exception this catch block will be executed. Because for a single try, you can have multiple catch. Like array index out of bound exception. Suppose we have array here. Int array equal to new int. Okay, this is how we create array in Java. Okay, it means this is the array of size 10. Okay, it will print hello, it will print hi. Again, it will go to this line because this line is the next statement after this, and this statement is inside try. So a single try block can have multiple catch. Why? Suppose in this try we find some exception. So which catch will handle this exception? So it depends on the exception which is caught at runtime. So which kind of exception will be caught here? Arithmetic exception. So arithmetic exception, what is arithmetic exception? It is a class. Okay. To catch any exception in Java, we have predefined classes to catch and handle exceptions. Okay, to catch any exception in Java, we have predefined classes to catch and handle exceptions. In Java, there are so many predefined classes for every kind of exception. For arithmetic exception, we have arithmetic exception class. It is predefined class. Like we already have this class in Java by default. We don't have to create it. Arithmetic exception is a class, and this is the reference of this class. And this is catch. It is, see, the syntax is just like a method. Like the method name is catch, and here we are passing some parameter. Like if int n means we are calling this catch by passing integer value. So catch arithmetic exception ex means arithmetic exception is a class, and this is the reference like student s. Okay, so if student class exception is caught, so this catch will handle student class exception. But what kind of exception this catch class is handling? Arithmetic exception ex means if there is any kind of arithmetic exception error, this catch will be executed. And if you have multiple catch statement, only one catch will be executed for a specific try. Okay, for one single try, only you can have multiple catch statement, but only one catch statement will be executed at first, like at once. No two catch will be executed, because if you get any exception here, so what kind of exception is this? Arithmetic error, arithmetic exception. So catch arithmetic. See, suppose if you write this here, so catch, it will check at first which catch will perform the action, which catch will handle this exception. So this catch is accepting array index out of bound exception. This will not be executed because this is this will not be calling this catch. This is a kind of arithmetic exception. So this catch will not be called, this catch will be called. It means this catch will handle this exception. So what we are doing here, we are just printing the EX. See what will happen. It will print. See, hello, it will print. Hi, it will print. Again, it will go to here. It will find the exception. This catch will be executed. System out println EX. Java lang arithmetic exception divide by 0. It means we are printing the exception. Which kind of exception is this? After this try catch, see, this by is also working. Now this by is working because we have handled this exception. We have not actually handled, we have just printed what kind of exception is this. Exception handling means if there is an exception, what action you want to perform. If you want to print only the error, then it is fine. If you want to print 0, it will print 0. It will print 0. Because if it has some error, arithmetic exception, we just want to print 0. It will print 0. And this by is also working. But if you don't handle this using try catch, if there is any exception, the program will be abnormally terminated then and there at the same line. It will not go to the next line. But here in this program, we have exception and it is also going to the last line. And every program, like the program's every statement is working perfectly and the program is terminated normally. There is no any abnormal termination of this program. So if you use try catch, means inside try, you have to write the code. You think it will have some exception. And for every exception, you have to write the code. You have to write the code in catch. Like if the specific exception, it will caught what kind of action we want to perform for a specific exception. So this is a kind of arithmetic exception. There are so many exception classes in Java. Okay, so suppose if it is not possible to remember all exception classes, we know that like this specific statement will have some exception, but we don't know what is the exception class name. Which class will catch this kind of exception? We don't remember because there are like more than hundreds of exception classes. I think more than thousands of exception classes. So it is not possible to remember all the exception classes. Okay, so no need to write a specific exception class. If you write specific exception classes, it is okay, no problem. But if you don't remember all exception classes names, you just write exception. Exception means this is universal class. It can accept every kind of exception. Arithmetic exception, array out of index, in array index out of bound exception, class not found exception. Okay, class not found exception. So this exception class, like arithmetic exception class, can only catch arithmetic exceptions. Array index out of bound exception can only catch array related problem, array index related problems. But exception class can accept, it can catch any kind of exception. So this is like what we use in a program. I personally use this exception class everywhere. See, run this program, it is also okay. Hello will be printed, hi will be printed. Again, inside try, there is an exception. If there is an exception, this catch will be working. Because this is exception class, it can accept all kind of exceptions. So it is printing the exception. What kind of exception is this? If you want, see, this is the class name, like the package name. Every predefined exceptions are stored in which package? Predefined exceptions are written in java.lang package. Java.lang. See, java.lang.arithmetic exception. Java.lang.array index out bound of exception. See, suppose if we have 2 here. Suppose we don't have exception in try, then what will happen? Then no catch will be working. See, this will print hello, this will print hello, hi, it will print 5 by 2, like 2.5. Okay, uh, catch will not work, by will be printed. If there is no any error, then no catch will work. See, hello, hi, 2, bye. See, everything is working. So if you don't have any exception, everything is fine. But if you have any exception, so you have to handle the exception here. That is called exception handling. If you don't handle the exception using try catch, your program will be terminated abnormally. So we are handling. So there is no any exception. See, if we array 5 equal to 56. Okay. Again run it. There is no any problem. Hi, hello will be printed. Hi will be printed. 2 will be printed. At the arrays like fifth index, 56 will be stored. No catch will be working. By will be printed. Suppose if you write here 15. So if the array is of size 10, like you can store the data from 0 to 9 because the index starts with 0. So you can only store data from 0 to 9, array 0, array 1, array 2 till array 9. 15 index is incorrect, out of bound. Run this. Hello. Hi. This line is fine. 2 will be printed. This line has error, like exception. So it will throw exception. By default, whenever any exception is caught, your program, your Java runtime environment throws the exception and this just catch the exception. So it will throw exception. Which kind of exception it is throwing? It is throwing array index bound of exception, array index out of bound exception. It is showing and this is catching and it will be printing this. Now the by, everything is working because we have handled the exception using try catch. So java.lang.array index out of bound exception. This is the class. For every specific exception in Java, we have predefined class. That class is activated by default automatically whenever any exception is caught. Whenever any exception is caught at runtime, your Java runtime environment throws the exception. It means it activates the exception class. This will activate this class, and this class will throw an error exception that index is incorrect. And when this line, at this line, your runtime environment will throw the exception. If you are catching this, it means you have handled. Otherwise, if there is no any like exception handling thing, your program will be abnormally terminated. But if you are handling this, it means your program is okay. There will not be any abnormal termination. Your program will be terminated perfectly, normally. This by working. So every exception class, predefined class, is pre-written inside this java.lang package. Okay, see, if you want to see what exception classes we have, so write import java.lang. Control space C. These are not exceptions, these are packages. Okay. Abstract method error. See, arithmetic exception. All these like orange colors are exception classes. Abstract method error, arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exception, array store exception, assertion error, boolean is not. Class cast exception, class not found exception, clone not supported exception, enum constant not present exception, illegal access exception, illegal argument exception. Everywhere where exception is written is the exception class. Interrupted exception, layer instantiation exception, no such field exception, no such method exception. You are trying to call a method which is not available. no such method error, and no such method exception, null pointer exception, out of memory error, runtime exception, security exception, type not present exception, unsupported operation exception. So there are so many exceptions pre-written, but it is not possible to remember all the exception classes names. So always try to use this exception class. Means this will handle all kind of exceptions. But if you write arithmetic exception, that exception will only handle arithmetic problems. Array index out of bound exception, that will handle only array index out of bound exception kind of exceptions. That will not handle all kind of exceptions. But if you write exception here, exception class, it will handle all kind of exceptions. This class is the parent of all other exception classes. All exception classes are inherited from this class. So this is the universal class. This can handle every kind of exception. So exception means runtime error. This is grammatically perfect. See, grammatically perfect. Like array name, square bracket, index name equal to the value. It is okay. But at runtime, there is some problem, index problem. So array index out of bound exception. So this EX means you can use this EX to print this. And this has two things. This is the class name and this is the message. That index 15 out of bound for length 10. The maximum length is 10. So if you don't want to print all these things, you just want to print only this is the message, this is the class name, this is the message. So EX dot get message. This exception class has get message method, which will print only the message, not like this. See, run this. See, index 15 out of bound for length 10. This will print the message only. If you print the class name only, get class. Okay. Run Java. Class java.lang.array index out of bound. This will print the class only. Like which class is getting executed, like getting called, activated. Which kind of exception class is activating here? So array index out of bound. So if you want to only print the class name, use get class. If you only want to print the message, get message. Dot get class dot get name or get simple name. So get name. If you write dot get class dot get name, what it will print? See here it is printing class space the complete package name. Here it is printing the package name only, not class. See, if you don't write the get name, it will print the same thing. But here at first it will print the class CLASS. See, class, the class path, package name. And if you print the get class, get name, it will not print this class, it will print just this package name. And if you don't want to print all the package name, you just want to print the class name only, not the complete package. Dot get simple name, not class get name, simple name. So ex dot get class will print class space class name. See, it will print like this: class space the package name dot get name will only print this, not this keyword. See, and we don't want to print all the package structure. We just want to print the class name. So get simple name. It will just print the class name. So we are printing here. If you want, you can perform some action here. Like I want to print 0. You can print 0. Whatever you want to perform, you can perform here. Now, after catch, if there is no any exception, catch will not work. And if you have exception here, see, hello, hi, you have exception here. After this line, it will directly go to the catch. This line will not come to the execution. After this, it will directly go to the cache. Okay. Suppose if you have two errors, like if you want to handle these two lines separately, no problem. You can write two try catch. This try catch will only work for this statement, and this try catch will only work for the array. See, hello, hi, this is exception, arithmetic exception. Again, this is completed. This try will start working. Array, this has problem because the size of 10, you are using 15. It will print array is out bound exception, then it will print by. Means if you have two different things, and if you want to handle both things separately, so use them in separate try catch block. Okay. Now we have a finally block, but inside this finally we don't pass anything. Okay, finally. This block is executed always. Doesn't matter our program has exception or not. We are printing hello there. Okay. So if your try has exception, it will go to catch, and at the end it will go to finally. If your try has no exception, it will go to finally. It will not go to catch. Means finally is a block which is executed always. Doesn't matter if you have any exception or not. If there is an exception after catch, this block will be executed. If there is no exception after try, directly finally block will be executed. See, hello, hi, this has problem, so it will print arithmetic exception. Finally will be executed. Hello there, and then bye. Okay. So this is finally. So we have completed try, catch, finally. Okay. Fine. See.
So Vishal, why is it actually required finally?
Finally.
Yeah.
See, suppose like if
Even
you
if we
want
don't
something,
give it.
yeah, if you want something to be executed, like doesn't matter if you have any exception or not. So if you want some particular statements to be executed always, okay, so this works. This is not required actually.
Need not be inside finally, right? It can the print statement can be even outside, because right
Yeah,
now, like how
if
the
you
bar
write
is.
this statement, if you write this statement here, it is also okay, no problem. This works same.
Mm.
Okay, but finally is a block which is executed always within try catch. Means finally is a block which is of try, related to try, but this is not inside this try catch. But finally is that inside try catch, but not like necessary it is. But there is a block like finally. This will be executed. Doesn't matter your program finds any exception or not. Okay. So finally is a block which will be executed always. Doesn't matter your program has any exception or not. Now let's come to throw. To throw an exception manually. Suppose if we want to throw exception, because here our Java runtime environment throws the exception, like runtime arithmetic exception. Our Java program is throwing the exception here by default. But suppose if we want to throw exception manually, suppose this is 0, num equal to 5, int div equal to 0. Okay, and here num slash div. Okay, run it, the same problem, arithmetic exception. Okay, the same problem it is here. Now we can check here if div equal to 0. Throw new arithmetic exception and pass here some data. Like we don't want to print specific message by default. We just want to print the message. If you run this, null, we are not passing here anything. By default, what message will be printed? The default message from Java itself. See, divide by 0. Get message means divide by 0. We don't want to write the default message divide by 0. I want to print my message, that if there is any arithmetic exception, I just want to print my message. How to write my message? If div equal to 0, throw new arithmetic exception and pass the message here, like division error. So it will pass division error here, and it will print the division error. See, division error means if you want to modify, if you want to customize the message, you can use this kind of syntax. If you want to customize the exception message, if you don't customize this, so it will print the default like division by error, slash by 0. Okay, but if you want to customize the error message, so you can do like this. If division equal to 0, so no number can be divided with 0. Okay, otherwise system.out.println num divide div. See, if div is 2, okay, run Java, it will print 2 because 5 by 2 2. And if you write 0 here, 0, so it is true, it will throw new arithmetic exception division by division error. So this will throw, this will catch, it will print division error. So you can also customize. This is the use of throw. Throw means we want to manually throw ourselves the exception. Like I want to throw, see if there is 0, array index out of bounds exception. Okay, and we are printing division 0, division error. It is also okay. Like whatever message you are writing here, it will just print that message. And if div is 0, we are throwing array index out of bound exception. Doesn't matter what kind of exception you are throwing here. This exception will catch all kind of exceptions. Okay, and it will print the same message you are passing here. But always try to use the right thing. This is related to arithmetic exception. This is okay. And this exception class will handle every kind of exception. So this is the use of throw to customize the error message. Okay, you are throwing exception here. Your program, like execution control, your program runtime environment is not throwing the exception. We are throwing the exception here manually. That if division is 0, it means there is an arithmetic exception. So I just want to throw it myself with customizing the message. with our own message, division error. Okay, this is the first use of throw. Now second use is, suppose we want to create our own class student. Okay, and student thing exmsg means exception message. Okay, so you can directly write message. This dot message equal to message. Okay, string get message, return string value message. So this message string, whatever you pass here, it will return the same thing when you call the get message, and get message is returning string value. Okay, see. Int num equal to 5. If num not equal to 0, throw new student hello exception. Okay, if num not equal to 0, if num not equal to 0, we just want to throw the exception of student class. Okay, and here we want to use student, and here ex dot get message, because in student class we have get message method. So this get message will print the message whatever you have passed here, but we are trying to create our own exception, user defined exception. So far we have used predefined exception classes, but if you want to create your own exception class, I just want to create my own class which will work as exception. So what you have to do, implements, or sorry, extends throwable. Means if you want to create a class, user defined class, you are creating the class, and if you want to take this class as exception class, means you can throw the exception of this class, you can catch the exception of this class. So you just have to extend the throwable class. This throwable class will make your class as exception class. See, hello exception, hello there, bye. See, num equal to 5, if num not equal to 0, so it is 5, true. So we are throwing a new student and we are passing hello exception. So new student class exception is thrown here. We are catching here. We are printing the get message. What this get message is, it will printing the message. This is the constructor. We are passing here hello exception. So this is the constructor student hello exception. It means we are initializing this message variable with hello there, hello exception. This will print get message hello exception. You can also throw your own, means you can throw any kind of exception. Doesn't matter it is predefined class or user defined class. If you want to create a user defined exception class, it means the class must be extending throwable. This is a class predefined, which makes a user defined class a exception class. Okay, that's all. Exception is completed. Now tell me, is it clear to everyone? Like we have also used our own user defined exception class like student. We are throwing student class exception here. Like new student, we are creating object because we create object with this new keyword, new student, and student means constructor. We are passing something. So this constructor is working. It is initializing the message variable, and get message we are printing here. We don't want to use get message. We want to use print message. Print message. Just write here. Print message. Run Java. See, it is working. So whatever the message or the method name you write here, you can use that method name. So now tell me, is everything okay or not? And just practice all the things whatever we have discussed today. And if you have any problem, you can directly write in the chat box. So exception handling is completed. Now the next topic is multi-threading, then utility classes. Like next 3 to 4 classes we have remaining for core Java and data structure. Okay, exception class we have completed. And
Vishal,
yes,
just one small doubt. So here we are printing the class data members, right? For example, student is there, EX is reference. So we are printing the data, we are printing a method here, EX dot method. Similarly, we can print EX dot other data members. But when
yeah,
it was an arithmetic exception, we used to print the reference itself here, right?
yeah, EX is printing. The
Yeah.
reference is printing
But we
the
can't do
specific
right.
method.
Yeah, but can we do that EX here, system.out.println just EX,
Yeah,
as we did
yeah,
for?
yeah. What it will print? It will print different thing, not like that. It will print just the class name
Okay.
when you print EX. But if you want to print the same thing like which we were printing previously, so public string toString. So there is a toString method in every class. If you don't write it, it will just print the class name.
Okay.
And if you write it yourself, so whatever you write here, it will just print that. So whenever we print the object reference, toString method is automatically called. Means toString is a special kind of method which you don't have to call. It is called automatically when you print the object reference. Like if you print ex.message, ex.print message, it is different. But when you print directly ex, so by default it will print the class name, because the default toString method returns the class name. But if you want to customize it, so you can do this like this. You have to write it public string toString method, and you have to return whatever you want. So we just want to return some string value, like the class name is student colon, okay, plus message. Like this, we have used the previous like predefined classes, like the class name, package name, and then the message. See, run this student hello exception.
Okay.
Student division exception means by default in every exception class there is a toString method. Here every class returns the package name and the message you are passing, and if you're not passing the message, it is printing the default message like divide by 0, array index, out of bound exception. But if you are creating your own class, and if you want to work this class as exception class, you have to create the toString method yourself. If you don't create this, it will just print the class name if you print the object reference. But if you want to customize it, you can also do it with overriding the toString.
Okay.
Okay. And when this toString method is called, whenever you try to print the object reference. See?
Okay.
And if you want to print exactly ex dot get message. See? Null. Get message. Sorry, get message null. We don't have get message method. Print message. Okay. See? Division exception. We just want to print get the class name only. Get class. Okay. Class student dot get simple name only student. Okay. Any problem? Or it is okay?
Got it.
Okay. So if you want to create your own user-defined exception class, you have to extend the throwable class. Okay. And you have to override toString. If you write here get a message, you have to write here get a message. Yeah. So this was all about exception handling. It was very important topic. Yes, Nivedha? Any question? Hello, Nivedha. Your mic is on. Do you have any question? I'm not able to hear you if you are like asking something. Anyone has any doubt in exception handling? Because in our project, we will be working with exception handling topics. Try, catch, throw, finally. Okay. We have used predefined exception classes. We have used user-defined exception classes. Always we will use exception class to handle any kind of exception. And by tomorrow morning, we will I'll share you some assignment questions. You have to solve that because tomorrow day after till Sunday, I'll not be available for the class. Okay. Our next class will be on Monday. And I'll text you the assignment, like the topics so far we have completed. The assignment will be related to those topics only, like till this exception handling. So I'm sharing this class recording. Just to watch that recording if you want and practice the exception handling programs. Okay, that's all. Let's connect on Monday, next class. Okay, same time, 9 p.m. and like Spring Boot data science at 10 p.m. Okay.